This podcast is brought to you by the School of Advanced Study, University of London.
My name is Catherine Davis. I'm the Director of the Institute of Modern Languages Research. Thanks everyone for coming. It's a great honour, delight, to have Anna and Luisa with us today. And I'll tell you something about Anna and Luisa in a moment. Margaret Jull Costa was meant to be here today, but she can't be because her husband's very ill. So she sends her apologies. And Anna Luisa will be taking the event herself, but wants to have lots of discussion where possible. So everybody's invited to say their part. I'd like to thank Caterina Ferreira for the embassy. I've sent us some lovely wine for afterwards. It's always a pleasure to work with the embassy. Okay, so I'm Luisa Amaral. I was born in Lisbon. She's a professor at the University of Porto, and she has a PhD on the poetry of Emily Dickinson. She's one of these rare birds that produces academic work and at the same time creative writing, which is just fantastic. Her English is perfect. And she is currently co-director of the Institute for Comparative Literature, Margaret. She's authored the Dictionary of Feminist Criticism with Ana Gabriela Macedo. She's edited an annotated edition of New Portuguese Letters in 2010 and the coordinator of international project New Portuguese Letters 40 years later. She's edited several academic books, and at the same time she has written poetry, a novel, books of essays and plays. And in 2016 a book of her essays on her work will come out with Peter Lang, edited by Claire Williams and Teresa Loro. So her first volume of poetry, Minha Senhora de Quê, was published in 1990, and this is alluding to Maria Teresa Horta's 1971 famous volume Minha Senhora de Mim. And so obviously this is inscribing Luisa's work and Luisa's work into the emergent genealogy of Portuguese women's poetry. She's published 10 collections of poetry since then, published in lots of languages, French, Italian, Swedish, Dutch, right across South America, Mexico, Colombia, Venezuela, and also translated into German. She's won lots of prizes, so look, this is all from Wikipedia. Lots of books of poetry, lots of children's books, 10 or so children's books. All the translations, all of this is on Wikipedia. I hope it's up to date. And the prizes, so what, a dozen prizes or so. Most recently, the finalist for the prize Portugal Telecom in 2014 proposed for the prize of the Reina Sofia Prize, which is very prestigious in Spain. Gold medal of the Câmara Municipal de Matosinhos for services to literature, and prizes going right back to 2007. So it's a real pleasure, and really I do say this sincerely, and I'm honoured to have you here. Thank you very much for coming, and I hope we can have a fruitful, useful discussion today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, thank you very much. I must thank, first of all, your wonderful invitation. I would also like to thank Caterina Ferreira and the Embassy of Portugal for having brought me here. I would like to thank the presence of everyone here and regret, of course, the non-presence of Margaret, the absence of Margaret, the fact that Margaret can't come. Her husband is, as Catherine said, in the hospital, and she couldn't make it. I hope that she can make it on Wednesday. This book, this is the last. This is my first book published here in the UK, The Art of Being a Tiger, in translations by Margaret Jull Costa. She's a wonderful, wonderful translator, and I think that she was going to come on Wednesday. Hopefully your husband will be better. And so I talked to her as well, and we came up with a plan B. That is, what she was going to do. She was going to spend 2 hours, which for Margaret is quite easy, to discussing 2 poems of mine, only that easy. So she was bringing like a literal translation and then her translation. She was going to go mot à mot, you know, word by word, you know, and then showing us how she had done, she had finally concluded those translations. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave that for either October or November. She asked when she could come, if this session will be rescheduled. And what I'm going to do is, I mean, present a few, I brought you a few copies of, some translations I myself made, because I translated also John Updike, Emily Dickinson, and William Shakespeare, the sonnets of Shakespeare. That's the most recent. Thank you very much. And so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to try to speak a little bit about my own difficulties which I have encountered while translating Updike, Dickinson, and Shakespeare. And then we're going to move to 2 poems of mine translated by Margaret. And I'm going to show you 2 different translations. One that has come out in the United States. The name of the translator is not there. I only thought it was, you know, I didn't think it was ethical to put the name of the translator in the, that, you know, that's in the 2nd page, I think, you know. My Lady, Minha Senhora de Quê, that's the title of the poem, and then Mistress of What in Margaret Jull Costa translation, and then My Lady of What in the other person's translation. As I said, and I'm not going to do it since I am going to confront, we're going to confront here both translations, and well, we'll see, you will come probably to certain, to a few conclusions, let's say. So, the first poem which I'm bringing you, I don't know whether people here speak Portuguese or understand nothing. Nothing. Well, okay, but if I go for what you have there in the first case, it's a very well-known poem by John Updike. I mean, actually, John Updike was mostly, as you know, a novelist, right? He published, though, when he was very young, and he knew that he had a cancer, and this was stated all over in interviews and everything. He published Endpoint and Other Poems, so a collection of poems published in 2009, which was then translated into several languages and published in several countries. And curiously enough, John Updike's poems, even though they seem quite easy, I mean, this one, for example, it doesn't, naturally. I mean, it borrows from Robert Burns, the poem by Burns of 1785, To a Mouse, a very well-known poem written in Scots by Robert Burns. And then it's a ferocious critique to society, I mean, social. It's a way of, it's full of humor, just like Robert Burns' poem is, and it has, as you can see, regular rhymes. Now, not all the poems by John Updike are like that. Most of them in Endpoint and Other Poems do not have rhymes. I mean, they don't rhyme, and yet they are, to my mind, almost as difficult as Emily Dickinson. Actually, to tell you the truth, the poems which were for me easier to translate, strangely it may seem, were the sonnets by William Shakespeare. This is a very strange, it's very strange, you know, but they were actually quite, you know, much easier to translate than John Updike or even Emily Dickinson. I am not a theoretician of translation. I mean, I love to translate poetry, just like Margaret isn't. I mean, Margaret doesn't care very much about theory. But I do have a few people that I like to read, and a few, especially, actually they are all writers, you know. One of them is the poet Marina Tsvetaneva, the Russian poet, who once, in a letter to Pasternak, wrote, and I quote her, "Today I want Rilke to speak through me. In common language, this is known as translation. but how much better the Germans put it, nachdichten, to pave over the road, over instantaneously vanishing traces. But translation has another meaning, to translate not just into the Russian language, but across a river. I translate Rilke into Russian as he will someday translate me to the other world. I love this. I mean, I think that this idea that the translation is not exactly, I mean, not just, you know, to translate into, to pass from a language into the other language, but also this idea of crossing the river. That is, I mean, Willis Barnstone, for example, says that translation, you can find translation, you can place translation into some kind of zone of exile, you know. And I like that very, very, very much. So, together with Willis Barnstone, who has a thing called, I mean, it's a long text called ABC of Translation, with some quotes by Marina Tsvetaeva, with Haroldo de Campos, a very, very well-known Brazilian poet who once said that to translate may be to betray, right? I mean, tradutore, traditore. I'm sorry because I got up today, I came straight from Portugal, you see. I got up at 5 in the morning and I slept 3 hours, that's why. So, tradutore, traditore, what he says is that to translate may be to betray, but it is never to petrify. So with these three ideas, so to translate is, it may be to betray, but it is never to petrify. With Willis Barnstone's idea too, that to translate always takes us into a place of exile, that is, it is to embark in a voyage between oceans, where everything is possible, he says, except the error. This is important too, you know, except the error, except the mistake. I mean, you can't, I mean, there are certain things that you cannot do naturally. For me, I mean, this is how I see translation with a poem, you know, and certain things, when he says, everything is possible, I mean, and I think, of course, of Emily Dickinson, of her most well-known poem that starts with, I dwell in possibility, a fairer house than prose. It's a beautiful poem, and she says this, I dwell in possibility, a fairer house than prose, as if she's trying, in a way, to oppose, you know, poetry to something else. Like, poetry is possibility. So, in Willis Barnstone words, to translate is to, you know, it is, I mean, in translation, everything becomes possible, but then he adds, so everything is possible. It is a space of possibility, but then he adds where everything can happen, but the error. And it's interesting because we may ask, what is an error? You know, what is, I mean, where do you, how can you find it? How can you find it? Okay. So I'll start with, what I'm going to ask you, if possible, is whether you can read poems in English. I mean, some, you know, and then I'll read them in Portuguese. Okay. Would you like to start with? It's difficult.
Updike.
I know the Updike.
Well, you know, I used to live in Scotland, but I didn't ken if
Well,
I could speak in Scotland.
I'm sure it's much better than me. If you can
I'll
find it.
go. To a well-connected mouse, we sleek it cowering timorous beastie.
Yes.
Pro science says that at the leastie we share 99% the genes where the other went. O nibbling peep-tailed bright-eyed sare, we hail from ein smart fearful blair, neath dinosaur feet, lang syne, na mere be pesty, cousin mine. Stay out my lad, out my traps, and they'll snap soft to doom perhaps, for theft and murder blither go, when as in the family, bro and bro.
Thank you very much. It was lovely. It was lovely. Now, this poem was, as you can imagine, extremely hard to translate into Portuguese. First of all, because we do not have, I mean, this is the first problem, you know. We only have Portuguese, you know. We don't have like a united kingdom of Portugal, you know, where you can find several languages living side by side. So we only have Portuguese. Even to say, you could say, okay, but you have Portuguese from Brazil, but it's totally different. You know? I mean, it's has not. I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't. It wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the equivalent, for example, to put this into Portuguese from Brazil. You want to say something?
No, I'm just corroborating.
Come in.
Confirming.
Oh, there you are. We're just discussing John Dyke, starting with the Dyke. So to start with, you see, I mean, it would be quite hard to do that. The only thing that I could maintain in Portuguese, I mean, first of all, I tried to keep from the poem a wonderful thing, which is a sense of humor, you know, the humor that exists in the poem, and also as I said, you know, the way that he criticizes in a very interesting way the social critique that there exists in the poem. So the first line, the very first line, you see, when he says, "We slick it, cowering, timorous," I can't do that art, timorous beast, you see, what I did was, in Portuguese, I'm going to read it in Portuguese first so they can listen to the sound. Medricas, timorato, subtil, nico, feroz, a grande ciência diz que há entre ti e nós alguns 99% a repartir de genes, onde quer que aquele foi cair. Ó cauda breve, paborrosa, ó bravo, mordiscante senhor, da névoa mais temível cantamos o louvor, pata de sal em cima, há tempo muito ido, nunca mais pestilento, primo meu, mas querido, não entres na despensa, evita as ratoeiras e talvez não te batam com tais boas maneiras, que o roubo, o crime, a faca, a navalha, o facão, quando são em família, vale tudo, meu irmão. Now, for someone who understands the Portuguese, you see, the very last line is borrowed from a very common register, you know. I mean, it would be, for example, the kind of language that you could find in small, you know, in gangs, for example, would say "mirmão." Just like in English, you know, when all's in the family, bro and bro, you know. But in Portuguese, you see, I tried to keep this same register of humor and this same register of critique, as well as the adjectives for me were extremely important, you know, and I kept them. But I didn't keep them in the same, usually I didn't keep them in the same order that Updike did. For example, in the very first line, that's where I was going, "We, slick-it, cowering, timorous beastie." I use the word medricas. Medricas is a word that you use in Portuguese, medricas, which, for example, can be used to children, you know, as medricas. You are medricas, that means you're coloring, you know, I mean, you're, it's usually a word that you don't use for, let's say, an adult, you know, or, well, for an adult person, you see. Or if you do, then you are, in a way, humiliating that person, you're using it in a humiliating way. So, medricas, then timorato, that's the timorous, subtil, the subtil can be the slick-it of the first line. And then we, you see, when he says, what I did was we and beastie, I connected we to beastie, so we and beastie, and I put nico, which is, in Portuguese, a noun. Nico, it's a teeny thing, which can be an animal, a small animal, or it can be nico of something, you know, a very small particle of something. So, but ferocious, nico, feroz, in Portuguese means ferocious. So if you connect nico and feroz, it creates a very weird impression, you know. And I wanted precisely to create that impression in the Portuguese translation. Also, I couldn't keep, because, I mean, I defend this for a long time, each language has its music. And the English language has its music, just like the Portuguese language has its own music. So, in my language, I mean, it wasn't by chance that the Romantics, right, when they wanted, or that Blake, or I mean Wordsworth, take Wordsworth in Coleridge, for example, right, when they wrote the lyrical ballads and the preface of the lyrical ballads, he explains that he's going to try to use the language used by everyday men. That's what he says. He doesn't say human being, because in those days it was only men. But still, I mean, it's not by chance that he used the ballad, the ballad form. In Portugal, we didn't use the ballad form, the Romantics didn't use the ballad form, they used something called redondilha, which is the 7 syllables, the beating of the 7 syllables, which is the one that is used, for example, you know, in popular songs, in old, como é que se diz canções de embalar? Lullabies, no. Those songs.
Nursery rhymes.
Nursery rhymes, thank you. In nursery rhymes, you see, like for example, Mary had a little lamb, right? I mean, this, like the 4 beats. Now in Portuguese, you see, we have 7 beats. So we say, it's more or less the same, if you listen to it. Look, Mary had a little lamb, esta pela abraçou-da. It's more or less the same. But as we count by our fingers, then we say, esta palavra saudade. So that is 7 syllables, you see. So, but it's almost the same, it's a little different. And it's not by chance that in Portugal, the Romantics adopted the so-called redondilha, which is the form used, the most popular form used in Portugal, still today. Still today, you know, in the popular dancing, you know, in people who are not poets, you know, and who still write, let's say, small, write verses, you know, in order to be, you know, communicating with each other, or the popular songs. And so what I did was, I tried, since my own language uses, in Portuguese, we have, for me, I mean, there are three main forms. One is the redondilha, this one is 7 syllables. The other one is the decasyllable, which was imported, just like here in England, from Italy, from the Italians. So it was imported and it came to Portugal, and for the sonnet, right? I mean, for the Italian sonnet, and it was imported with the Italian sonnet. So, but it is a decasyllable, it's very much used. And then you have also the 12-syllable poems, you know, the poems with lines, the 12-syllable line, which is not as much used. It was more in France, the so-called Alexandrino, but still, you know, it's quite used in Portugal, even now. Now, well, I don't do this when I translate, you see. I mean, I'm not thinking, now let me see how many syllables I'm going to put here, you know. I don't do this. It's not like an agenda, it's not like something that I program, you see. I listen to the music in this case in English, and then I try to adapt it to my own music and to my own language. And in this case, what happened was that, you see, he says, we, sleepy, calm, timorous beastie. And in Portuguese, he says, medricas, timorato, subtil, limpo, feroz. And then when he says, broad science says that at the least, and in Portuguese, if you put a grande ciência, this clearly is very ironic. You know, it sounds like ironic. You see, so big science, you know, the very important science says so and so. So I hope, I don't know, I mean, for those people here who can understand the Portuguese, and I'm very sorry for the people who can't, but I hope that it functions. I don't know what you think. You think it does?
Yes, it works. But it's quite different, the rhythm, because it makes the rhythm flowing more slowly, instead of those constant beatings on the original English.
Yes.
It's like
But it functions in terms of humor and all this.
Yeah. The original functions almost as like an automatic gun. You know, it's Yeah, that's it.
Okay, but for example, I mean, this is totally different from translating a poet like Emily Dickinson, who, as we know, follows a different kind of structure. She follows a structure mostly, as you know, of the hymn, right? Of the Puritan hymn that is 4 beats, 3 beats. So, to pile like thunder to its close, then crumble, rend away, while everything created hid. That would be poetry. Now, again, you see, my problem, I had 2 problems here. When I translated 200 poems by Emily Dickinson, and whereas Shakespeare is here, I'm in my 31 poems by William Shakespeare. John of Arc, as I said, I don't have a copy, so I can't show you. But I translated 200 poems by Emily Dickinson. Now, Emily Dickinson has several problems, apart from the issue of the rhymes, the problem of the rhymes, of course, I mean the form in itself, the regular form. It is her syntax, as we all know, the way that she wrote. It's also that very syncopated, very convoluted in a way syntax, that she uses, and then in this particular poem, To Pile Like Thunder to Its Close, something that she once defined as a nearness to tremendousness, which is something very weird, I mean the very expression. So she says, I would like to be able to convey a nearness to tremendousness. And that's what I try to do in my translation, which is very different, actually. It doesn't follow the original, like in the original it starts with the verb to pile, but we can, when I can, who wants to read the poem? Please. In English. Yes, please.
To pile like thunder to its close, then crumble grand away, while everything created hid, this would be poetry, or love, the two coeval come, we both and neither prove, experience either and consume, for none see God and live.
God, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Now, I mean, the first thing that when I started to translate this poem, I remember very well, actually, this happens to me when I write poetry too. It's the importance of the creation of images. You see, I have to create mental and emotional images, just like when we listen to a piece of music, for example. Why are we touched by Satie or by Bach or whatever? I mean, that's only sounds, and yet, we may even cry with that. So it's these mental and emotional images that one creates, and in this case, you see, this mental and emotional image involved this wonderful, and something, of course, that we have all experienced, to use her word, in our lives, which is to listen to a storm, right? And so to pile like thunder to its close, you can hear the and then crumble, rend away, then crumble, rend away. So it goes, that sound, crumble, rends away, while everything created here. I mean, you can't say this in English, where everything created here, this would be poetry. No, when everything which was created, I mean, this is also her form, her way of writing, the elision. She works with the ellipses, she works with all these deletions, I mean, she deletes, and to an extent that sometimes you cannot even recover what was, let's say, in the deeper structure, I mean, we all know that poetry does that, right? Uses compression, but usually, even though it uses compression, that's what we do when we analyze a poem, and we try to deconstruct those lines, right? I mean, we try to go deeper and to see what there was under that surface. And in Emily Dickinson, sometimes it's very hard to do that. Okay, so while everything this would be poetry, or love, to go evocar. In Portuguese, I didn't start as she does with a verb. I started with a noun. So to pile means in Portuguese crescer, or amontoar, empilhar. I mean, we have lots of words for this. Actually, to pile literally means empilhar, which is a very ugly to my mind, to my ear, it's a very ugly word, you know. But to pile things, okay, this is what I'm doing, I'm piling things, you see. So I'm empilhar coisas, but it can also be crescer. So, mas o crescer do trovão, I decided to put crescendo, which is the noun, de trovão, até findar. This is a little strange in Portuguese, because it should be o crescer do trovão até findar. There should be here, in Portuguese, two verbs. You know, to make sense. Not to make sense, but to be more, let's say, correct. You know, from the grammatical point of view, correct, which is a word that you can't use when speaking about Emily Dickinson, right? Or of poetry. I'm not only of Emily Dickinson, of poetry, the issue of correctness. But without knowing, actually, I did, without knowing, because this was not like, thought at the time. This just came out like this, you know. I mean, I didn't think about it. I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. I can only do these exercises a posteriori, let's say. I think that I did what she did. That is, in the first line she uses a verb and then a noun. To pile like thunder, to its close, to the close of the thunder. And in Portuguese I put crescendo do trovão, which is a noun, and then até findar, which is a verb. So she uses verb and in the end noun, and I use noun and in the end verb. I didn't rhyme, you see, I didn't rhyme, and you don't have perfect rhymes, but you have internal rhymes. And you have assonances, crescendo do trovão até findar, depois os buruar-se, and this word in Portuguese, buruar, it's also because of all the R's there, you know. I mean, it evokes the very sound of the thunder. Depois os buruar-se grandioso, quando tudo criado era escondido, isto a poesia, ou amor. Os dois vêm coevos, ambos, nenhum provamos, qualquer experimentamos e morremos, ninguém vê Deus e vive. I don't need, you see, because she says, we both and neither prove experience, either, I'm sorry, in English, right? We both and either prove, I said either, experience either and consume, for none se valem live. So in Portuguese, ambos nenhum provamos, qualquer experimentamos e morremos. And then she puts there, como é que isto se chama? I mean, that form is because, of course, so it's a causal word, right? That for is what? Because is what is it? A connector, I know, but it's a causal. I don't know how. Não sei como é que se diz. I don't know how to say it in English. Because.
It's a causal adverb, isn't it?
Sorry? A causal adverb. Is it?
Conjunction,
exactly. A causal conjunction, isn't it? Yeah, it's a causal conjunction. I mean, in Portuguese, it doesn't appear, but then it is not necessary there, you see. We don't need, if in Portuguese, if we say, if we read in Portuguese, qualquer experimentamos e morremos, and especially if we keep the dash, that dash that she's there, ninguém vê Deus e vive. It's enough, you know, and it has, I hope, the same suspension that the poem by Emily Dickinson. Now I'm going very, very quickly to the next one. I'm not going to read the whole poem. It's a very interesting poem. I don't know if you know this story. Emily Dickinson was published for the first time in 1890 by Thomas Higginson. By Thomas Higginson, and this is one of the poems that he corrected. Yes. You see that he corrected. That is that he. The poem. It's about the grass. It's a poem about the grass, right? It starts the grass so little has to do with fear of simple green, and then it ends by saying the grass so little has to do. I wish I were a hay. Now, Thomas Higginson writes to the other editor, made all of this stuff, saying, well, the fact that he's talking about Emily Dickinson in a letter, and he says, the fact that she says that the grass wishes to be hay is very strange, but to be a hay, it's impossible. So he corrects this into the hay, at least a definite article, not an indefinite article. And finally, in 1955, Emily Dickinson was, with the complete poem to Emily Dickinson, came out by Johnson. Then, he followed, of course, he followed the manuscripts, and he kept, I wish I were a hay. And in Portuguese, I still continued with que eu queria ser I don't know, can we just for the pleasure of it, can we just listen to the poem in English and in Portuguese?
Do you want to have a go too?
Yes. I don't know who wants to read. Jill.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were volunteering. I'm happy to do it. The grass so little has to do, a sphere of simple green, with only butterflies to brood and bees to entertain. And stir all day to pretty tunes, the breeze is fetchable, and hold the sunshine in its lap, and bow to everything. And thread the dews all night like pearls, and make itself so fine, a duchess were too common for such a noticing. And even when it dies, to pass in odours so divine, like lowly spices lain to sleep, or sparks perishing. And then in softened barns to dwell, and dream the days away, the grass so little has to do, I wish I were her hay.
It's lovely, it's a lovely poem. Okay, this is how it came in Portuguese. Tão pouco a erva precisa de fazer, espera do meu dever. So I think that I did this, I tried to do the same studies. The second line is also a bit shorter than the first line in Portuguese. Tão pouco a erva precisa de fazer, espera do meu dever. Com borboletas só para pensar e abelhas a entreter, mover-se todo o dia belas melodias que as brisas vão buscar e no seu colo segurar o sol, fazer vénias a tudo, tecer de noite orvalhos com pérolas de maneira tão fina que uma duquesa, a coisa mais vulgar nem notícia seria, e mesmo quando morres, merecer em odores tão divinos, especiarias suaves de dormir, de nardos crescendo, depois em estábulos reais viver e sonhar com os dias a passar. Tão pouco a erva precisa de fazer que eu queria ser feno. Now, in English, of course, it rhymes. You dream the days away, I wish I were a hay. Here, what happens is that you have viver, passar, fazer, feno. So you have the alliteration, fazer, feno. And you also have that closed vowel, e. You see, in, which contrasts a little bit with from erva, tão pouco erva precisa de fazer que eu queria ser feno. So you have all those, you see, I think, erva, ser, feno, fazer, so not only the alliteration, but also those closed sounds. Before I move into Margaret's poems, because I would love to, just let me tell you, just one, just a quick. This is going to be very, very quick. I would very much appreciate if a person could read the two poems, the two sonnets by Shakespeare, both of them, sonnet 138 and 152. And then I'll just very quickly speak 5 minutes about them, and then I would love to move to Margaret's translations. I don't know who wants to read.
Would you like to read the sonnet? When my love swears that she is made of true, I do believe her, though I know she lies, that she might think me some untutored youth, unlearned in the world's false subtleties, thus vainly thinking that she thinks me young, although she knows my days are past the best. Simply I credit her false-speaking tongue. On both sides thus is simple truth suppressed. But wherefore says she not she is unjust? And wherefore say not I, that I am old? Oh, love's best habit is in seeming trust, and age in love loves not to have years told. Therefore I lie with her, and she with me, and in our faults by lies we flatter.
It's great. It's a great story. The second one. Am I asking you too much?
No, you did it so beautifully.
Yes.
In love, okay.
Yes.
In loving thee, thou know'st I am forsworn, but thou art twice forsworn, to me love swearing. In act thy bed thou broke, and new faith torn, in vowing new hate after new love bearing. But why of two oaths breach do I accuse thee? When I break 20, I am perjured most. For all my vows are oaths, but to misuse thee, and all my honest faith in thee is lost. For I have sworn deep oaths of thy deep kindness, oaths of thy love, thy truth, thy constancy, and to enlighten thee gave eyes to blindness, or made them swear against the thing they see. For I have sworn thee fair, more perjured I, to swear against the truth, so foul am I.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Those are both the Dark Lady, as we all know. I mean, both sonnets. The biggest problem, I'm not going to comment on the full book, I'm just going to say something. I did not use the equivalent in Portuguese to the iambic pentameter, which would be the decasyllable, right? In Portuguese. And I didn't do that because I think that the English language is much more syntactic than the Portuguese one, much more, I mean, you can say many more things in much less words, and in Portuguese we need more words, and our words are usually longer, you see. We don't use as many prefixes, suffixes, I mean, all of these that you use in English. So, because of that, I tried to do it first in decasyllable, but then it all sounded too artificial, and I did not want that artificiality to come out in the poem. In this first poem, in 138, one of the most famous songs by Shakespeare, my biggest problem was the two last lines. Therefore, I lie with her. Okay, there you are. I mean, I'm sorry. Here we have men, naturally, right? Complaining. I mean, okay, so she tells me that she is honest, but she's not honest. She lies to me, and I also lie to her because I say that I am young and I'm not young. I'm old, so we keep lying to each other. But then he says, therefore, I lie with her, but this is also I go to bed with her, of course, and there is the erotic tone there. And in my novels, my lies reflect me, so the erotic tone must be kept. Now, in Portuguese, we don't have that. Oh, I don't have anything to write. You see, lie in Portuguese is, I don't know, should I? Okay. To lie has these two meanings, right? Whereas in Portuguese we have mentir, which is to lie, to tell a lie. Mentir is to tell a lie, but this is the noun, right? And then we have deitar-se, which means deitar-se has to be like this. I mean, it is a reflexive verb, and it means to lie down with. To lay down with someone, you see. So to go to bed with that, you know. So I don't have the same word. I can't make that pun, but I wanted that pun. So I couldn't figure out a way to do it. And finally, I remember it was like 4 in the morning or something like that. I woke up and I came up with this. I don't know how it came, but it did. So the last 2 lines you can read: com ela me deleito, mentindo, deleito, mentindo, e ela comigo, e a mentir nossas faltas, em deleite existimos. So what does this mean? You see, deleito means I take delight with her. I mean, literally this would mean With her, I take delight by lying, and she with me. E a mentir nossas faltas, and lying our faults, and in our faults by lies, of course, and delight existimos, we exist in delight, delighting with each other, flattered, that is, with each other, you see. Now, the thing to a Portuguese, deleito is the first person of the word deleitar, which means take delight, as I say. But deleito, it also, for us, it can also be, any Portuguese reader would understand. I mean, it would echo to Portuguese reader, you know, the possibility of decomposing this word into de and leito. Leito means bed. Okay, cama. Or leito is the same as cama. So go to bed with, you see. So com ela me deleito, and then deleite is the noun for deleito, for deleitar, which is delight. But com ela me deleito, com ela me deito. You see, com ela me deito, it is not the date, it's deleito mentir. So I think that it came out nice, you know, I think it was a stroke of luck, but I wanted to show you this. Whereas the other word, what I did was to use, are you sure that I can use this paper here?
Yeah, of course.
Yes, okay. So he uses vowing, forsworn, swear, perjured. I mean, those are the main words that Shakespeare uses. What I did was to use jurar. We have also, is wonderful in Portuguese. Jurar means to swear, perjurar means to perjure, then jura, which is the swear, vows, which is votos. So, what came out, and also, I mean, we should also think that in 1609, that's when they were published. The sonnets, we don't know exactly when they were written, but they were published in 1609. So, there is all this, I mean, and I wanted to keep all the play with the words, you know, that Shakespeare uses in his sonnets. Ao professar de amor, sabes que sou... I'm going to read it, you know, as I would read it in Portuguese. Because in Portuguese I would read it quite fast. I would read it very slowly. I would read it like this. Ao professar de amor, sabes que sou perjuro, mas tu dobras perjúrios ao jurares amor, pois nos votos do leito quebras votos e juras, e ao novo amor os quebras, por ódio de jurar. Mas porquê acuso eu teu dobrado perjúrio quando quebro 1000 juras? Eu, mais perjuro sou, que só para abusar dos votos e juras, e a minha virtude perde-se toda em ti. E faço juras fundas à tua funda brandura, votos ao teu amor, constância e lealdade, e para te dar luz me torno cego a mim, e os meus olhos choram no oposto do que viram, pois eu te jurei bela, ó olhar mais perjuro, que diz feia mentira, jurando de verdade. So now, you don't have in Portuguese, you see, the couplet, the final couplet rhyming, you see. Here, I mean, you have the rhyme with lealdade in verdade, you see. But I didn't care very much about that. I thought it was, as I said, as Willis, I mean, what Willis Barnstone said, that thing that I mentioned in the very beginning, that everything is admitted, everything is possible except the error. I don't think it's an error, you know, what I mean. But it is, I do think, a space of possibility. For example, when he says to her, but why of 2 oaths breached by accused thee when I break 20? If I were to put in Portuguese, quando quero 20 juras, in Portuguese, this doesn't mean anything to Portuguese reader, you see. I mean, in English it does, when I break 20. But in Portuguese it would be something like 1000. Because when we break vows, we make many vows. So I'm joking. So that's, I think, I hope that, I just wanted to make, you know, these 2 small comments on those 2 translations. And now I would move to Margaret, to her beautiful, beautiful, wonderful translation of this poem, Minha Senhora de Quê, which is my first book, and it reads, I'm going to read it in Portuguese. Dona de Quê, se na paisagem se projetam pequenas asas, deslumbrantes folhas, nem eu me projetei. Se os versos apressados me nascem sempre urgentes, trabalhos de primeiro, refeições, doendo a consciência inusitada. Dona de mim nem sou, se sintasses trocadas o mais das vezes na minha intenção, se sentidos diversos, ocultados, nem do oculto nascem, poética de lábios, quem dera. Dona de nada, senhora nem de mim, imitações de medo, os meus infernos. Okay, I'm going to start with the second translation first, okay? Which came out in an American magazine. And which was a big problem, see, because you don't, I mean, in English, in Portuguese, what happens with Minha Senhora de Quê, it's that it plays with, I mean, Minha Senhora in Portuguese has so many different meanings and echoes and undertones and everything, you know, in Portuguese. First of all, it reminds you immediately of our way of addressing a woman of a certain social position, you know, I mean, first of all. Especially if you go to the first line of my poem, Dona de Quê, and if you mix that with Senhora, so Senhora and Dona, see, mainly in Portugal we have three like status, I mean, you know, regarding women. You can be Senhora, you can be Dona, and you can be Senhora Dona. It's horrible, but this is how it is, you see. So you have Senhora Maria, for example, the cleaning lady, I mean, nowadays, unfortunately, things are changing, you know, but the person, for example, who cleans, you know, could be called Senhora, you know, Senhora Catarina, for example. But if she owns, let's say, a grocery, she would be called Dona Catarina. But if she is the wife of a doctor, let's say, she would be Senhora Dona Catarina, so she would have both. So the poem plays with that, first of all. Then it plays with the whole tradition in Portugal and in France and in Spain and in the Iberian Peninsula and also in a part of France, as you know, of medieval poetry, of the troubadour poetry, where you would use the Minha Senhora, as I mean, the troubadour, right, would address the lady, the beloved, by Minha Senhora. Actually, it wasn't even Senhora, because in those days the word was only Senhor. Minha Senhora, that's how it would, you know, in the troubadour poetry, Minha Senhora, the word was not gendered, because it did not have the. But anyway, so to a Portuguese person, it echoes all of these, you see. And it echoes also, of course, the book of Maria Teresa Horta, Minha Senhora de Mim, even though when I published my book, Minha Senhora de Quê, this is a very interesting, Margaret told me, we should speak about that. We should speak about that because it's very interesting. When I published my poem in 1990, a very well-known essayist in Portugal, Amaral and Margaret, said, this is a dialogue with Minha Senhora de Mim by Maria Teresa Horta. And I thought to myself, is it? Wow, I never thought about that. And then she even wrote an essay on that, and I thought, wonderful, lovely, lovely. And I mean, let's say, it was like a narrative that you tell yourself. It was so wonderful and so lovely, you know, that story, I mean, that analysis that she did of Minha Senhora de Quê, that I even repeated it later on in several interviews which I gave. I said, yes, my book dialogues with Maria Teresa Horta's Minha Senhora de Mim, when in fact in those days, well, this doesn't mean anything, of course, but in those days, if you even know Maria Teresa Horta's book, and in fact, my book did not have that title. It had the title, The Impossible Bush, like the burning bush of the Bible, you know, the impossible burning bush. So it was only at the last minute that I called it Minha Senhora de Quê. But anyway, but to a Portuguese reader, it would bring all of these things. Now, this was the first problem of the translator in the States. How to put this? Minha Senhora, I can't say Mrs. It was a woman, you know, who translated. I can't say Mrs., she said. I have to put my lady of what? But if I put my lady of what? An English person or an American person, I mean, because this was in the States, won't understand anything. So it needs a note. So she put a note. Minha Senhora. So this came out in a magazine. Literally means my lady, but dona in Portuguese means both owner and Mrs., the status of wife and lady of the house. Therefore, the apparently often translated of dona by lady owner, because dona also means, one who owns, property. So it had also that. Now, after all these years, I think that when I look back at the poem like this, I think that it is a feminist poem, I mean, I didn't think it was, but I didn't think if it was or if it wasn't, but I think that there is this issue, or the issue of gender is here very, very much present. So this was the translation, lady owner of what she did. Lady owner, Senhora Dona de Quê. If in the landscape where are projected insignificant wings, dazzling leaves, not even I projected. If the hastening lines born of me always urgent, tasks in between meals, achings from unexpected consciousness. Lady owner, not even of myself. If well converted syntax, most of the time not even my intent. If various occult meanings, not even born from the occult. A poetics of Hades, cooperative, owner of nothing, lady, not under me. A mimetics of fears, my house. Now, what Margaret did. That first of all, it was a problem. I had this person right beside me, you see. She was right there and saying to me, but do you want, and me, and it's horrible, it's the worst that you can have, I think, it's to be translating, at least for me, next to a person, next to the person who's being translated, because what happened was that I kept saying to her, hey, look, listen to the sound, I want this rhythm, she kept saying, but this is not the rhythm of the English, and I said, but I want it, and the poor thing, she did this, you see, and if you read Dona de Quê, lady, se na paisagem, it's very close to the original, se na paisagem, if in the landscape, onde se projetam, where are projected, pequenas asas, insignificant wings, deslumbrantes folhas, dazzling leaves, nem eu me projetei, not even I projected. You see, it's a very weird thing. Okay, now this is Margaret's. What's to read Margaret's? Mistress of what? You want this, please?
Mistress of what? If onto the landscape tiny wings, dazzling leaves, all cast their shadows, but I cast none. If my hurried verses spring so urgently from me, in between works, tidbits, wounding my unaccustomed consciousness. How then, mistress of myself, if my muddled syntax is mostly unintentional, if my diverse, secret meanings are not even born of secrecy? The poetics of Hades? Ah, if only. Mistress of nothing, donna, nobody, my personal infernos, mere imitations of fear.
It's so different.
Yeah, I know. I mean, this is. I'm going to start. Would you mind to comment, please? Because.
Huh?
Would you like to comment, please?
Comment?
Yes, I will.
Please.
It's
the My Lady one.
I mean, for some reason, I didn't put the name. You see, now I didn't put the name of the person who translated.
It's very clumsy. And mistress is exactly right. Because you think immediately, she might call it mistress, the Amaral.
Yes.
It's just capture that.
Magic
And it's
is-
smooth and it's clear and smooth and the other one's very clumsy.
Yes. And now even this dona nobody. Dona.
Yeah.
Because you use this word as well in English. I mean, you can.
Absolutely.
And Katerina didn't know.
I know that now, I know.
Oh yeah. It's like Don Juan, everyone knows.
Yes.
Don.
Yes, I mean, does it have like
Donna, all the opera characters have Donna. It's Italian, I think.
I think it's lovely done in Albany, isn't it? I mean, it brings don't you think, I don't know, maybe it creates a different kind of tradition, you know, I mean, it dialogues with a different kind of tradition. It doesn't try, that's, for me, what I love about it, it doesn't try as the other one, to dialogue with a tradition that does not belong to the English, you know what I mean?
I mean, a poetics of Hades, who could give? That makes no sense.
It's a literal translation, isn't it?
It's a
literal.
Yeah, but
Sorry,
it makes no
It's a
sense.
literal translation.
It's a literal translation, yeah.
This kind of translation is something that I, who has no skills whatsoever, would do.
Still wouldn't bother.
Well,
Adapt it.
but it has to be complicated to sit next to someone
Yes,
creating
yes.
this. And
Yes, I mean, this is something that happened with Margaret, you see. She would translate, she would send me a poem a week, sometimes 2 poems, you know. She's still sending me poems, and she's still translating, she continues to translate,
Yeah.
so we're going to do another book now. But, so she would send me a poem, and she would say, you know, read the movies, you know, do you have any themes, you know, suggestions? And sometimes, I did, and sometimes I did what I, you know, I would say, Margaret, can't we, you know, take that, like in Portuguese, you see, you have also things with the syntax, the very thing that I say here in the 3rd stanza, dona de mim nem sou, se sintaxes trocadas, that's what she says here, Margaret, deve estar isto, as sintaxes. If by muddled syntax, you know, muddled, she uses the word muddled, whereas trocadas means swapped, exactly, you know, but muddled syntax, I think it's very beautiful, it's very visual even, you know, it's a very strong image. So sometimes, you know, I would try to do that in English, you know, I'd say to her like, can't you take out, you know, that I, you know, can't you just drop that verb? And sometimes she'd say yes, and sometimes say no, I can't. And I'd say, why not, Margaret? I would say, you know, very mildly. But couldn't you, for example, put 2 points, you know, something like that? No, I can't, I'm sorry, this is English, you know. So that was but I think that I mean, I love it. Like, I think I simply love it, you know, the end, even, mysteries of nothing, don't know nobody. So the ends and the ends, you know, mere imitations of fear. It's a very strong one. Now, the last poem, because you see, she sent a beautiful poem called Commonplaces, which starts, but I didn't read it because it's, you know, she translated it, and I think that she wants to come back in October or November, and she will do that, you know. But I will just say to you that I use an expression called, in Portuguese,
Just take that off.
that's all right, café, manhoso, which, again, manhoso. Manhoso literally means shaggy. It also means sly. Literally sly person, you know, sly person. And it's also a shabby cafe, you know, a very dirty cafe, scruffy, whatever. And again, this poem was translated, it was published in the States, and it stayed in shabby cafe. Margaret came out with a solution. It was the greasy spoon.
Very good, yeah.
You know, but then she plays with and it's in London, you know, it's, I entered in London in a greasy spoon, that's how the poem starts, but I'm not going to do it. Anyway, so the second one raises a different kind of problem, you know, which apparently she did not have any, for her, it didn't seem, you know, to be any problem at all, which is the title, and the first line, of course, nem tágides, nem musas. And tágides are the nymphs of Tagus, of the Tejo, of the river, you know. And they are also the muses or the nymphs invoked by Luís de Camões in his Lusíadas. E vós, tágides minhas, so he invokes the tágides, he invokes the nymphs of the Tagus, you see. And of course, I mean, in a way, when I wrote that poem, I wasn't thinking, I can only think about it later. But I think that by saying nem tágitos nem musas means, you know, I mean, I'm not inscribing any of those kinds of traditions, you know, I mean, I don't want either tágitos, you know, nor muses. I mean, what I want, I don't know, but
You
still.
refuse the cliche.
Yes, in a way, you know, it's also a way of, I think it was also, it's not, I don't think you can speak about transgression, it's more a way of subverting the canon, you know, I might be. Anyway, the poem reads in Portuguese, nem tágitos, nem musas, nem tágitos, nem musas, só uma força que me vem de dentro, de ponto de loucura, de poço que me assusta seduzindo, uma fonte de fios de água finíssima, raio do ar a mais, a secaria, nem rio, nem lira, nem feminino grupo a transbogar. Só o que herdei em força não é dada, em fonte, onde o ar não está. Okay. Now, if someone wants to translate Margaret's translation,
I'm happy to. Have a go. That's beautiful. No nymphs or muses, only a force that comes from within, a touch of madness of the abyss that frightens and seduces. A fountain of threads in the water, finer than fire, too bright moonbeam would dry them up. No river, no lyre, no female flood of nymphs, only some inherent and inherited force in a fountain where the moon does not shine.
it's lovely. I don't know if again you want to say anything. Let me start, please. I mean, in my poem, the second stanza, it says, uma fonte de fios de água finíssima. So they're all fonte de fios de água finíssima. That in English become a fountain of thread, thin water, finer than fine, which is precisely that, you see. It's a poem about inspiration, let's say, you know. How does inspiration come, you know? It doesn't come through the tajwid nor through the muses, you see. It comes from within, from some point, that's what I'm saying here, you know. It is true, actually, you know, a touch of madness. I mean, some place, I don't know, I can't explain from where it comes exactly, you know. But in a way, it's like saying, you know, neither that tradition nor this genealogy, I mean, I don't know where I belong in a way, but I know that it comes from a font de fios, from a fountain of thread, thin water, finer than fine, so finer, so fine, so fine, so fine, that a too bright moonbeam would try to, you know. But I don't know if I'm sorry.
Well, the only thing I would query there
Yes.
is the use of this instead of well, because with the apostle, you know, it's obviously water that you're dredging up from the tiny bit of water. And you don't get that so much with the abyss, but you couldn't use the word well because it just wouldn't sound right. You know, but people talk about apostles of
Poço.
yeah, the subconscious.
Yes,
Yeah,
she transforms poço into abyss.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, but I don't know how else you would do it.
Well, she's privileged sound,
Yeah.
because that is so strong in
Yeah,
the
yes.
original poem, the rainbow sound.
Yes, I know, and because, you know, I think that, I don't, again, you know, if we think about the issue of the error, I don't think it is, you know, because if you see us, you can
No,
see us.
I'm saying it's
No,
an
I
error.
know, Catherine, I know, but what I'm thinking is, you know, I mean, how did she, in a way, how did she dislocate the meaning, you know, did she truly dislocate the meaning? I don't, from well into abyss, you know what I mean, it's a question. But, just like you have that idea of looking at yourself in the well, you know, of seeing yourself reflected, right? I mean, well, that frightens, let's say she could have put a well, right? Of the abyss that frightens and seduces, you know, well, when you look at yourself in a well, and you know, you get frightened because you think you may fall, and at the same time you see yourself. I think the same image, the same idea is there in the abyss. You know, sometimes you even have that idea that the abyss looks back to you, you know, and it frightens you as well, you know, you feel attracted into the abyss. I think that in Portuguese it functions better poço,
Yeah, it does.
you know?
But you know,
Besides poço and ponto, you see, in Portuguese. You see, ponto and poço. I think you're right. I think it has to do with the sound as well, probably. Right?
Because it's madness and abyss and fright and seduces.
Yes.
Position, isn't it?
Yes, madness, abyss, frighten, seduce. So there's all this.
Seduces and muses. That's lovely, isn't it?
So she didn't care that they were not Tashics, you know. I said, you know that the Tashics are the names for the Takas, and she said, oh, I know. You know, and nothing else. I know. She was wonderful always, you know. Dear Luísa, she says, querida Luísa, I know very well, yes, thank you very much. Muitos beijinhos, grande beijinho. Margaret, in the next email, the poem would come, no need for music and everything, where are the Tashics? You know? And she, no, because truly the nymphs, right? You think of Spencer, for example, right? Because you immediately think of all the tradition in Spencer, Shakespeare, I mean, you know, that the nymphs of the famous have, I mean, what's the name of that big poem? What's the name of that enormous poem by Spencer?
Spencer's very good.
The one about the swans and the nymphs, you know.
Is it epithalamium?
Epithalamium, yes.
Which means
It
the
is.
marriage, doesn't it?
Yes, it is when the nymphs and the swans fall in love, right? So I mean, there's all these the nymphs of the things exactly, you know, are equivalent in a way to the Tajic, to the nymphs of the Takas, which are just Tajic in
Well, the nymphs of, I'm just trying to think in the ring cycle. The nymphs of the Rhine
yes.
are called the Rhine or
Yes.
nymphs, aren't they?
Does the Tame have names?
The
Thames.
Rhine. Oh,
No.
Thames!
Yes.
Thames, that's barges,
Oh.
what's it called, dirty Tubman barges, floating down the Thames.
No one ever said that.
We don't have nymphs.
Okay.
No.
You have dragons now.
I don't think we have any nymphs in any river, actually. Do we have any nymphs in any rivers?
You just have Nessie.
But you have in the thing, I mean, in that poem by Spencer, you do.
Yeah, but he's not thinking of an English river, he's thinking of a classical river.
Ah, no, I don't think you do.
You have the fairies.
Do you have ferries or fairies?
But we also have ferries.
We have the fairies.
We have ferries in Portugal, no? I think that, you see, I mean, let me just finish, read you I'll read in Portuguese, the first poem that Margaret translated, and then someone else would read the English, or vice versa, I don't know. It's called Visitations, or a supposedly gentle poem. Okay, I'll read it in Portuguese first. Visitações, o poema que se diz manso. De mansinho ela entrou, a minha filha. A madrugada entrava como ela, mas não tão de mansinho. Os pés descalços, de ruído menor que do meu lápis e um riso bem maior que dos meus versos. Sentou-se no meu colo, de mansinho. O poema invadia como ela, mas não tão mansamente, não com esta exigência tão mansinha. Como um ladrão furtivo, a minha filha roubou-me a inspiração. Versos quase chegados, quase meus, e mansamente aqui adormeceu, feliz pelo seu crime.
Debbie, do you want to go?
Right, thank you.
Visitations are a supposedly gentle poem. She entered very gently, my daughter. The dawn entered with her, but not quite as gently. Her bare feet made less noise than my pencil on the page, but her laughter was louder than my poem. She climbed very gently onto my lap. The poem, like her, came creeping in, but not quite as gently, not with the same gentle urgency. Like a furtive thief, my daughter stole my inspiration, those lines, almost finished, almost mine. and here she fell gently asleep, contented with her crime.
It's a beautiful poem. I know.
Thank you, the translation.
No, they're the Portuguese.
Thank you very much. I don't know, this is what I had brought, I mean, in order to try to... I don't know if you want...
Well, thank you very much. Have you finished that?
Yes,
Well,
yes.
thank you very
Well,
much.
I'm sorry if it wasn't, you know, I mean, as prepared as, you know, but
It was a wonderful experience.
but
So,
it was like,
it was
I replaced.
a reading together, which was lovely, of poetry. So, any comments to Anna-Luisa?
I'd like to ask you about the process of the translation of the poems. You said there's a back and forth with Margaret, and you sound like a very receptive author, that you're happy to enter into this dialogue with her. Yes. I mean, could you tell us a little bit about this process of translation now?
It's beautiful, it's wonderful, you know, it's truly wonderful because, I mean, I like it immensely because sometimes, you know, she suggests, for example, I mean, I can't give you now precise examples, you know, I don't remember, but I must have, because I never delete my emails, you know, since 2005. I kept all my emails from 2005, but I must have now, I'm sure, something like, I don't know, 300, 300, yes, emails by Margaret, you know, so, you know, mine and Margaret, because she responds, she always sends, it's very interesting, she must be very early a person, you know, so she always sends her emails around 7:30. To the extent it came to a point when I would have said, what happened? Is there something wrong? I didn't get my phone. You know, or the other day she said to me, you know, I miss translating your poems here. You know, I'm sending you one more, you know. So I think, first of all, she's a wonderful person. You know. She's one of the most wonderful persons that I know. You know. She's, as you know, very well respected translator, you know, awarded, very full of prizes and all. She's such a simple person, and she listens to you, you know. And at the same time, she's very firm, and that's what I need. I know that, you see, because I can be a little, as I think that everyone who writes can be. I mean, if you allow us. For example, this translator, the American one day she said to me, God, I wonder, she was the first person actually to translate from Pessoa into English, you know, she has that. In the States, to publish, no one was speaking of Pessoa yet, no one. But anyway, she said to me, what I'm glad about those when they are dead, I don't want them alive, you know, because they pester you. And then she would give up. You know, whereas Margaret did never give up, except when she thought, you know, maybe there is in Irish, she would say, yes, I like it better. It was rare that would happen. It was rare. Sometimes what happened more was questions. She would write on the side comments saying, I don't understand this line here. What do you mean here? You know. Is it all right? Is it what you meant? You know, is this what you mean? It's very interesting because I think it was to hear that she sent, no, it wasn't. It was, I don't know to where, Caterina, that she sent a text saying, I learned, with Luisa, I learned that not always I need to understand. I am special because she translates novels mostly. She only translated Sofia de Melbreiner and then in poetry, you know. So because she translated Fernando Pessoa, José Saramago, Essa de Queiroz, you know, so she is a translator of prose, of fiction, more than poetry. Sorry?
And in Spanish as well.
And in Spanish, yeah, exactly, very good, excellent, wonderful. And she said, I realized that I don't need to understand everything in order to translate. And this, I think that this is a very humble way of putting things. I feel the same with Emily Dickinson. You know, I mean, there are things that I don't. If I want to, you know, to explain them in words, and they provoke emotions, feelings. You know what I mean? But to explain them, you know, to understand, let's say, everything in a rational way, like you understand 2, 3, 4 paragraphs, 2, 3 chapters of a novel. You know, if you think of a novel in a more traditional term, it's different. So that process, so it went back and forth, you see. She would send me the poem. First of all, what we did was, she asked me to make an anthology, to choose like 70 or 80 poems. That's what I did. And then she didn't follow my anthology. You know, she used some poems from that anthology, and then she translated poems that she, interestingly enough, you know, I thought, why is she translating the poem like this is something I've never, you know, but then she liked it. Like, I wanted to put the title, this title, I wanted it to be topographies. And she said, and read topographies. No, don't go to topographies. Call it the art of being a tiger, because there is a book inside, you know, called The Art of Being a Tiger. Then I said, what about a photograph in black and white? You know, my last book that came out in Spain, Oscuro, is all in this beige. I think it's beautiful, you know, it's French-like books, you know, the covers of French books, all in beige, you know, in beige. And Margaret said, you know, this is very interesting to me. It has to do with the Anglo-American culture, I think, you know, I mean,
The market.
with the market. Yes, but you know, and because this cover could be the cover of any book published in the States or here. I mean, it is published here, of course. But what I mean is that she said, it's a bit sad, that cover, you know, the cover of the Spanish book. It's a bit sad, you know, it needed, I think that here for England it needs an image. And then she said, Blake. What about, so she chose the image, which is Blake, you know, William Blake. So that process was for me it was extremely enriching, you know, because I could see how she was working, and I could even see why she had some problems in understanding some things that, for me, were totally clear, you know. And what is more interesting is that there have been some theses, PhD and MA done on my poetry, especially in Brazil. And interestingly enough, those questions that Margaret was posing, what do you mean here, you know, is it this that you meant? I don't understand this part, you know, could you please be more clear? Interestingly enough, those are the moments where the people who wrote the theses had more problems too, and they were writing the theses, you know, so in a way she was trying to analyze, you know, to interpret first. Because you have to interpret first, and then you pass to the second stage, which is, you know, the translation. But I think that in Margaret's case, these are problems by themselves, you know, it's as if she has done, yes, she didn't put well, she put a miss. I mean, it does not say ambition in Portuguese, it says well, but to tell you the truth, I didn't care at all, you know. I think that the piece functions beautifully, and I trust her.
And a piece, and also can also be an abyss that attracts people to many times to commit suicide. For example, like Florella Schwenker.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes. And, yes, because the post has that thing of precipice, right? I mean, it has that. It also means precipice. It also means to fall. I mean, the idea of falling into losing yourself. And I think, to my mind, also of reflecting. I mean, of seeing yourself reflected. You know, and not liking what you see. I mean, being frightened by the image that you see there of yourself. You know what I mean? It's like the other side of yourself reflected. And I think that the other side to me is a side of when I write poetry. You know, it's very frightening. No, it's very frightening. For me, it's a very frightening position to be sometimes, most of the time. Because in a way, when you, for me also, when I write poetry, it is as if sometimes poetry replaces life, and it's very dangerous, you know. Many times in my life, poetry replaced life, took the place of life, became more important than life itself. And then you say to yourself, but these are only words, you know, I mean, how can words be life? And yet, there were moments in my life, years of my life, when I thought, this is more important than life, you know, I mean, I cherish it. It was more important for me to write than to live.
May I ask, is that what led to your involvement with the Novice Capital Public yourself? Just thinking it's more a manifesto than a literary piece in a sense.
If this is a...
Yeah, you produced an edited collection or an annotated version?
Yes, I produced an edited collection, and also I coordinated the project, international project under Portuguese letters, because I think it's a wonderful book. It's forgotten. I mean, it was translated here in England by Helen Lane in 1973 or something like that.
Very shortly after it was published, wasn't it? Quite quickly.
Yes. Because I think it's wonderful. I mean, I think it's one of the most important books I have. I have no doubt in saying that it's one of the most important books in Portugal of the 20th century. I would even say in Europe, you know.
Yeah, I was about to say.
In Europe, I would say in the world. You know. I think that, I mean, people are not aware that the Portuguese letters are as translated as Fernando. It has so many translations. It's 120 texts, and you ask yourself, what is this? Is this poetry? It is, but it's not only poetry. Or you ask yourself, is this, it's 100, are these letters? Yes, they are letters, you know, they have the register of letters, but they're not letters exactly, you know. Then, is it pieces, are they pieces of fiction? Yes, fiction is there, you know. Sometimes even short stories, very short. It's not only that. Are they pieces of journalism? Yes, too, but not only that. So, I mean, you have like 120 texts. One text is called Two Translations from Elizabeth Barrett. So that's a text. Then another one is a letter from the Marquis of so-and-so to Mariana so-and-so. I mean, it's such a complex book. It's such a complex book because it is a manifesto, but it's also a work of art from a literary point of view. It's wonderful. And yes, I am very much engaged in, you know,
I think
it's an injustice, you know, that the book is so has been so badly treated. And in Portugal, it's very interesting because the book came during fascism in 1972. It came out during fascism. All the intellectuals and the people from the left and, you know, I mean, against the fascist government supported the authors, the three women, the three Marias, as they were known, Maria Venezuela, Luisa Amaral, and Maria Jull Costa. Our best novelists, to my mind, you know, alive. When I say, not, I mean men and women, you know, among men and women, it's the best to me. So when the book came out, everyone gathered, you know, defending them. Then the 25th of April came, 1974, and the book was forgotten, and worse of all, it was considered a feminist book. Because to the left, so it was, in a way, it's a book that bothers both, that was very insulting, of course, you know, to the extreme right and to the government that we had before the 25th of April, you know, for Salazar and Caetano and fascists. Naturally, I mean, come on, look how the book starts. The book says, Novas Cartas Portuguesas, and then, or of how Minha Mendes put both hands in her waist and gave a kick in the ass. He said this, Luku of the other, legitimate superiors, you know, so that's how it defines this way of It's very, so it was, but then it also bothered the left, you know, the so-called, especially, for example, the Communist Party. The Communist Party, because the Communist Party defended then, most important of all is, you know, the problem of the class. Okay, we have to find, you know, we have to see the issue of women, you know, that doesn't matter at all, you know, feminism, you know, those are only distractions to what really matters, which is a looted class. So, and the same thing happened, for example, in Africa, in Portuguese countries that spoke, where Portuguese was spoken. No one read new Portuguese letters because they were building a nation. And in this idea of nation, the issue of women was not important. It didn't matter again. So this is also very, so I mean, around you cannot only have all of this kind of, you can, I think that the book raises an immensity of questions, immensity of questions, from social point of view, from the literary point of view, you know, from the psychological point of view, the political point of view, you know. I mean, it's very actual, you know. When it speaks about the soldiers and about the war, they mean, of course, that war, you know, the colonial war, but it could be the war here in Yugoslavia, those could be the soldiers in Syria, you know. They can be any soldiers in any part of the world, you know. They don't need to be the soldiers that fought in those days in Africa. It can be applied to any violence, you know, the thing of violence is
The reason I bring it up in relation to your talk today,
sorry.
the reason I bring it up in relation to your talk today, obviously, because you produced a collection of it, but also because the poetics of the text really struck me. You know, it's a very, it's very sophisticated from a literary perspective. You know, the content and the feminist issues completely aside almost. It draws those elements in together really nicely and really.
You mean the new Portuguese?
Yes, yeah. And it just looking at Minha Senhora de Quê, that sort of same idea of a really sophisticated literary piece of work.
Very simple.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, no, I've never seen that poem before, to be honest, but I really liked it.
Thank you very much.
The American version or the
the American version, the British one.
Margaret's version.
The Margaret's version. You see now why I didn't put the name of.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
You did well.
That's very kind.
There was no need of that.